Hey, yo. Check it.
Welcome back, hero.
My word is my sword, Hokage and Batosai, pulling the blades out of the forge, yo. Prior to my knowledge of the Force, was thinking Jedi, but through obtaining holocrons from both sides, I'm under gray skies. Everything that glitter ain't kyber crystal, my mind to lift you. In this time we shine together, disarm your pistol, yo. Welcome to the SwordCast. My wordplay, my swordplay when blades clash.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome
What up?
to episode, what is this, 44?
Episode 44.
Oh, man, episode
Job at Best. Detroit Football Lions was really, really good until he had too many concussions. I think he was at number 44. Somebody will actually me.
Job at Best was really dope in college, man.
He was, but he got his brains knocked out too many times.
Yes, sir. Episode, I think Hank Aaron, the legend, was actually number 44. So there's a good one for you.
That is a good one. Any basketball 44? Do you think that would be a common one?
Yeah.
Let me get. Episode Rick Mahorn, dog.
Episode
Pistons.
Pistol Pete Maravich was number 44.
Pistol Pete. Oh wait, fuck. I think, man, come on, Rick Brown. Is that? I think either Rick Mahorn was number 44 or 45. One of the two.
Episode George Gervin. I think the Iceman was number 44 too. Episode Iceman George Gervin. Episode. Was Keith Van Horn number 44?
That sounds like an old 44 ass.
Man's that played for the Nets with the long
I used
socks.
to fuck with Keith Van Horn.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
A prototypical short stretch big kinda.
Yeah, he had a game. I liked
like a mid-range big.
He was straight. Episode is there anybody that's 44 right now? Jerry West. the logo, right? Episode Jerry West.
I can't think of many current players that are episode 44 or that are number 44.
I know Dries Petrovic was 44 before he went to the Nets. When he got drafted, I know he was 44. That dude had so much game.
He was really good.
Shout out to Dries Petrovic, man.
Rest in peace.
Used to actually give MJ some problems.
He did.
In court. Rest in peace to Dries, man, who was on his way to being one of the greatest players ever before he.
For sure, he was gonna probably end up being a top 10 shooting guard of all time, maybe higher.
That guy had.
I think the esteem that we hold Manu in, I think Dragan would have been number one, and then in terms of international shooting guards, Dragan would have been number one, and then Manu
Ginobili
underneath him. Yeah,
Ginobili. Yeah, I agree with that, man.
Also, for some reason, I know this is not his number, but anytime I think of Dragan Petrovic, I also think of Rex Chapman and him being sneaky kind of good for 2 seasons, average 20.
Rex he was a shooter, man.
He did, and he had a little bit of bounce.
He had a little bit of bounce too.
Yeah, a little short white guy with some hops, and then 90s white guy with some hops. That's different.
He was. He had game. Who was that? Was it Brent Berry that won the dunk contest?
Bruh, so weird, man. Is that the biggest dunk contest upset of all time?
Random dunk contest win. One day we'll have to look up and see who else was in that one. I don't know who else was in it, but
I feel like it was T-Mac or somebody,
man,
Kobe or fucking somebody. And somebody important as fuck. Now, that was before them, because that was 94, 93, 94.
I feel like he didn't even take his warm-ups off. I feel like he wore his jacket the whole time.
Or it could have been old-ass Dominique Wilkins for the 17th time.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, man, shout out to the sports, and that does it for the sports section of the SwordCast. Yo, man, episode 44. We are approaching episode 50.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, episode 44. We might have to drop a shirt, man, when we get to episode 50.
I agree. I'm with it.
Comment, let us know, man. If we can do some merch, drop a SwordCast shirt. Who's copping that shirt, man? I think we should do that. I think that would be dope. Yeah, bro, episode 44. We're going to talk about what we're both into right now. It's no secret. But other than that, one thing, what are you into currently, my friend?
I've been pretty one track lately. If I'm thinking about other stuff that I'm into, what anime have I been watching?
The God of High School.
Oh yeah. I'm 2 episodes into that. That shit's incredible.
There's only 2 episodes out, man. Y'all check it out. I'm telling you.
You got to get back. You got to catch it while it's hot because that show. And I love the fact that it's like a Korean show, and they talk about like Taekwondo. Like the way that they reference martial arts is always from a vantage point of Taekwondo, which is pretty cool. I like it. I'm gonna try to check out a bit of more of the webcomic because I think it's moving too slow for me.
The webtoon is good, man. I started reading it like almost 2 years ago, and it's really sweet.
That's what's up. So other than that, bro, I've been so here I'm gonna shout out my dog a little bit. Come here, Cloud. Crowdo. So I've been working with the dog. Who is he was sick when he was a puppy, so he like missed some developmental time, like he missed some like socialization, so we've been working on trying to get him good with other dogs and other people. So recently went on a walk with my homie Jimmy, who lives down the street, a high school friend of mine that also relocated to the same area. And this nigga Cloud had a good ass walk, bro. This nigga was like, you know what I'm saying? It didn't start off good. It started off bad. It started off real bad. Like they were flat out about to scrap. Both of these dogs were like, because you know, Cloud is like cool with seeing dogs from a distance, but Jimmy's dog got a little too close, and Cloud was like, "Hey, bro, back on up." So we distanced a little bit and did like, you know, we just had Jimmy. I had Jimmy walking out in front a little bit, and then I was behind him, and it was all good. Like we let the dogs kind of sense that each other were in each other's presence, and after a while, after like 5 minutes into the walk, like Cloud was good. Like he was like right up next to the other dog, and really making some good progress here. So shout out to Cloud. What I've been into.
It's a growing process, man.
For sure, man. Especially when you got a dog that has like separation anxiety and is like sort of an emotional dog a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got to work with him. But he had a really good walk. And what I've been into lately is training Crowdo to be the best good boy he can be.
That's what's up, man. So yeah, man, myself, we talked about the God of High School, man. Look, if you are looking for a new anime to watch, man, that's got to be the one. It's only 2 episodes in. Animation, amazing. Fighting, amazing. Check it out. It's something new. I told you guys, I checked out the webtoon a couple years ago. This show definitely will be an all-time great when it's done. I'm telling you right now. But other than that, man, before the ringer came out, you know what I'm saying? I was getting heavy into Neo 2, which I love the game.
You don't want to play that shit no more, right?
You don't want
to play it no more. It's all good.
You don't like it as much as I do, but it's very difficult, and some of the. And it's cheap difficult, right? Like there's The customization is next level. It's fantastic, but the way the combat works, it can get a little annoying as in the sense that you can only take like one hit and then you die. So
whatever, bro.
So if we're gonna do that, that's okay, right? If we're gonna do that and keep it realistic when it comes to swordplay and how it works in real life, I'm cool with that. But I shouldn't have to hit you 20 times and you only have to hit me once and I die, right? And that's kind of the grandest problem with that game. But I do still like it. And then, man, Rob Liefeld, man, shout out to Rob, the legend, the creator of Deadpool. He did like all that iconic 90s comic book art that you guys are familiar with. That was him. And he finally dropped this Snake Eyes series I've been waiting forever to come out. And the first book came out. It's called Snake Eyes Dead Game. It's fire. I read the first one. It's dope. Looking forward to the next issue dropping. And that's what I've been into, man.
Boom.
So yeah, man. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Look, man, we're gonna talk about the Ghost of Tsushima. I've been streaming it on Twitch, y'all. Make sure y'all follow me on Twitch, man. It's just Noveliss, Twitch TV /Noveliss. I've been streaming it a little bit. I want to talk about it. I don't want to get too much into it because I know that not only have people not played it, me and you are at different points in the game as well. So I don't want to
slightly different points.
Slightly different points, not too much, but man, like, so what are your initial? Just give me your initial thoughts. A couple things you love about the game, and how do you feel about it, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, so I full disclosure, because not only you, but also the homie Edmund is also playing it all at the same time as us, and I told him the same thing. And
it's so cool, man. You gotta let me get Edmund's number, man.
No doubt.
It's so because this rarely happens, man. Because it rarely happens where people are playing a game in real time at the same time, because we're always doing different stuff. So the fact that we're playing it all at the same time is really dope. Yeah.
So I told him the same thing that I'm going to tell you and all of the rest of our fans. I am not prepared to talk about this game yet. Like I'm going to talk about it in the most general terms possible because I'm running through the game extremely slowly. I just want to take it all in. Enjoy it. And when you discuss a thing, right, like it, to me, sometimes if you like over scrutinize something too early, or like even if it's positive, if you just overthink it or over talk about it too quickly, it like takes me out of the game a little bit. And this world is so beautiful. Like my first reaction to this game is that it's one of the most aesthetically beautiful games that I've ever seen. Maybe the most. I think Horizon Zero Dawn comes close. That's one of my favorite games ever. I always talk about that one. But in terms of like just aesthetics, that game's got such a good main character too. Yeah, Aloy is she's one of my favorite main characters. Really briefly on Aloy, like I like the fact that she's like a strong female character, but she's not like corny and like heavy-handed, like. Whatever. It's just like I don't know, and maybe it doesn't need to be heavy-handed. It is what it is. Like I just think it comes out so much more naturally with her. Yeah. Great character. Because it should be like it's not. You shouldn't like women are strong. Period. It doesn't need no explanation. They just are. And Aloy just is.
She doesn't have to be like a woman to be strong.
Exactly. So, anyways, back to Ghost. The game is just a gorgeous game. Like I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the graphics, because when I first saw this game, like the trailers, like the graphics were good. I mean, it was definitely a PS4 game. But when I compared it to something like The Last of Us that is like probably the most graphically impressive game I've ever seen, the face models didn't look quite as good in the trailer. However, when I got it, put it on the 4K with the high resolution on the PS4 Pro, this game is like it's like better than I thought, which is like the best. That's like the best surprise ever, is to see the game graphically be more impressive than you thought it was going to be. And so that combined with the combat, which is just, I'm talking about some of the snappiest, most gratifying combat ever. You know what I'm saying, Doug? Like, that shit's just amazing. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm having a great time. Oh, am I done, King?
I couldn't hear you. I don't know if I froze or if you froze.
Okay. I mean, we've already established that this is your fault. So,
yeah, we have.
So basically, I was just saying that, like, the combat is super gratifying, super dope, super responsive. And I'm loving it. A lot of people, like, I saw some of the reviewers were not hating, but being overly critical because they were like, oh, this is like a standard issue, like, open world game. Like, it's a lot like Assassin's Creed. Like, but my reaction to that is, haven't the fans for the past decade been asking for a feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game? Because I know for sure I have. And if that's the game that we got, then nigga, yes, that shit's fire. Like, that's not a criticism. That's a compliment because that's the game we wanted for forever. So I'm here for it. I've been totally enjoying this shit.
That's awesome, man. And you know, same here, man. My first thoughts, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's amazing. Same thing. You know, I've been taking it slow, man. I've been running through the game, very, very slow, enjoying it, playing it a lot, but just in exploring. Like, the photo mode is better. Man. The photo mode is better than some games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's just the photo mode. It's better than whole ass games.
Just the photo mode itself is better than like entire games. And just loving that, and just exploring side quests, you know, unlocking some cool armor and finding swords, and there's the haikus, and there's the hot springs, and there's the Fox Temple, the Fox Shrines. There's so much in this game, and I love it. I don't want to say anything about the story, but just know that I'm not exaggerating. This is already my favorite game ever. I have no problem saying that. I don't care. It's my favorite game of all time. I love it. That good. You guys got to play it later. Maybe we'll probably talk about it again next episode. But this is, like you said off air when we were just kind of chopping it up, this is a game that warrants like an entire episode. So,
sure,
you know what I'm saying? We could definitely talk about it for an entire episode. But Jin Sakai, the main character, amazing. Side characters, amazing. The story is amazing. The graphics, the world. There's so much attention to detail, man, that it's, you know, we talked about the horse, right? When you're riding the horse, just the way the horse like stops and turns around, like, it's so realistic, man. And I appreciate it. And I love this game so much, man. So you guys, if you do not have Ghost of Tsushima, you have to get this game. It's a must-have. It's a must-play.
So before we move on, I'm gonna give my single favorite detail, my single favorite small detail that I've come across in this game thus far, and then I'm gonna ask the same thing of you. I told you about this offline. We know that if you swipe on the D-pad or on the like the fucking gamepad in the middle, he will sheathe his sword. But if you do it fresh out of a battle, when it's still bloody, this motherfucker will like fucking samurai swag and like fucking flourish that bitch and either like do the flick, or he will wipe it off on his sleeve first before sheathing it. And so to this point, like, I can't, like, anytime I do a battle,
you have to
do that, no matter what. There have been times where I got shot with an arrow because I was too busy flexing because I thought it was all done.
Yo, that's amazing. One more thing, right, with that is how about I think that his actions are dictated upon what kind of armor you have on. Like, I think he'll only do the arm one if you have on the samurai, you know, armor, and then if you don't, he does the one where he kind of, you know, flicks it and then puts it back. Whatever, it's amazing.
That's fire.
That's a good one. We're talking about small details, man. goodness, there's so many. I talked about it earlier too off air. I love the way that this character moves. I love when you are rolling and you can do the running, sprinting slash, and he kind of does this thing where he like stops on a dime and then has to gather his feet back up, and it's so realistic. Like I just love that you can like fight multiple opponents, and if you move well enough, you can take 0 hits. You know what I'm saying? It's just super realistic, man. I'm loving it.
Boom.
So yeah, man, Ghost of Tsushima, play it. But yeah, man. With that said, the game is fire. It's fantastic. But let's get into a little 90s nostalgia. We have a couple episodes. Hero, give me a forgotten snack from the 90s that you just were all about when you were a kid.
So when I saw that, the first thing that pops into my mind was that tweet. That tweet about Chuck E. Cheese. Let me find it in my phone and read it to y'all. This shit had me dying.
Oh, yeah, that tweet is hilarious. And Chuck E. Cheese smells like a bag.
because I used to like going to Chuck E. Cheese, I won't lie. But now that I'm thinking about it and I'm looking back, I'm like, bro, this shit was kind of, so I just sent it to you by mistake. But anyways, so the tweet is, "Hi, welcome to Chuck E. Cheese. Everything is visibly dirty and our mascot is a rat. Come eat some pizza near a sneezing child. Come on down for some rat pizza at our child casino." So the first that came to mind, because for whatever reason,
accurate.
Bro, 100%, dog. Come eat some pizza near a sneezing child during COVID-19.
Love you guys. My parents are here.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
shout out to Noveliss' parents.
My mom.
So the reason why that came to mind is because I remember liking Chuck E. Cheese pizza for some reason. And so furthermore, I must have been a piece of shit. Like I must have been a sneezing rat child, because I used to think that shit was good.
Eating sock pizza.
Eating cardboard pizza, bro. So other than that, I'm having some difficulty with this because I was never really a big candy eater like that.
Okay,
but if I had to think of one, I would have to say I'm going to go with, shout out to my boy Brandon, rest in peace. When we were in high school together, he put me on zebra cakes. I know this wasn't quite the 90s, but this was like just after the 90s. But I'm sure they were popular in the 90s. When I was like in like early 2000s in high school, he put me on zebra cakes, and I was like, "Yo, these motherfuckers are amazing."
Yeah, it's a corner store legendary snack.
Yeah,
zebra cakes. So I'm gonna keep it super 90s. I'm gonna go with koala yummies, man. I don't know if y'all remember these. They were like in this little weird like cardboard thing, and it was like these little koala. I don't know, man. They were like little koala graham crackers or something.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Chocolate on the inside of them.
You used to dunk them in shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Those were so good.
Fucking Dunkaroos, goddamn it.
Dunkaroos. That's another good one, man.
All right, so here's a modified question. Here's a modified question. So forgotten, but give me your top 3 like most like all-time great 90s snacks. All-time great.
Man, all-time great. Okay, so first of all, I know that they don't taste any different, but when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with Halloween Oreos because the cream was orange. And it doesn't taste any different, but in your mind, it tastes different.
In my mind.
In my mind. So for my childhood, I have to put Halloween Oreos. Then I gotta go koala yummies, and then I'm gonna say so you know Bugles are.
Yeah. Yes.
But Bugles dropped in the 90s because they were the crazy 3D looking,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
It was fucking weird, bro.
So they were so weird.
Yeah.
But they used to sell them at my school when I was a kid. So I was a bugle eater.
All right, here we go. My top 3 in no particular order I'm gonna go with not fruit by the foot, but fruit roll-ups. I preferred fruit roll-ups. They had that. Look, check this out. This is how gross and shitty we were as kids. I preferred fruit roll-ups because they had like that like plasticky like fucking film on top of it, or like not because there was like a piece of plastic that you had to roll out, but like the actual candy itself had this plastic sheen to it that like for some reason made it taste better, and shit was probably just all like poison, all of it.
Yo, do you remember fruit rolled up pizza? Where they had
what the fuck is that?
Dog, it was fruit roll-ups, but it was like shaped like a pizza, and you could like put fruit roll-up toppings.
Oh yes, I do remember that. I remember that. That's hilarious. So okay, then number 2, I'm gonna go with and shout out to Edmund on this one because we used to have these at his mom's house, and with her uneven ass microwave, goddamn,
I'll be burning the middle or something, and
So the fucking pizza rolls, dog, or pizza pockets, and not the pizza pockets, the ones that like the small ones, the pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls, yeah.
Bruh, those slapped, but man, like it would be frozen on the outside and fucking lava on the inside, just scarring you for life in the roof of your mouth. So shout out to the pizza rolls, and then number 1, I'm gonna go Lunchables, but specifically number 1, the pizza Lunchable.
Right.
I remember if you went to middle school or elementary school with a pizza Lunchable, you was the shit for like an hour.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
You would just like you wouldn't share it, but you was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I got my little. You just kind of have it like. Kids are fucking shitty, fucking assholes. Like just kind of walking in front of the kids
on your friends
with the shit, with like the fucking paper bag. Which was me usually with the paper bag, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just kind of like, hey, how you doing? Got my little goddamn Lunchable, and you eat that motherfucker right in front of me.
With the pizza that I'm not even gonna heat up. I'm just gonna eat it.
Just eat that shit.
Disgustingly cold.
Sprinkle some fucking shredded cheese on top. What the fuck were we doing in the 90s, dog? And that shit was a delicacy. It was amazing.
Bruh, you would never go to a pizza shop and be, hey, don't cook my pizza.
Yeah,
I just
don't put it in no oven. We're just gonna.
I just want raw pizza dough,
please.
With sauce and cheese.
Don't even give me the dough. Just like get like a hard piece of bread, like maybe a cracker, and just put the toppings on top, and I'll just have a bite. That's all. Thank you.
Don't cook those pepperonis either. I want those raw too.
Jeez.
That is, man, that's disgusting. I don't know, man. Also, do you remember there were so many like cool microwavable foods. Remember like bagel bites came out and they were like
they slapped, dog.
Yeah, those
bagel bites were good. The one 90s treat that I never got into, and I'm gonna betray Edmund here because I know this was his shit. I never got into Pop-Tarts, bro. I was never into Pop-Tarts. Mitches were weird to me.
Yeah, I went through like a phase when I was a kid where I was eating Pop-Tarts all the time, but because they came out with the crazy berry one, and it was like purple frosting with the blue zigzag on it. Those were the 90s. Everything was, you know what I'm saying, super vibrant design. So I do remember remember eating those. Bro, we had like green ketchup in the 90s too.
Right. There's a bunch of weird ass shit. A bunch of strange things that happen.
Makes no sense, but great time. So, all right, man, moving on from that. Yo, let's talk about some music, man, right? I know some fans, they want to hear more about our music journeys and everything. Give me, do you have any stories of like technical difficulties taking place while you were in the middle of performing?
Yes, I've got a one that it had a happy ending and one that had a sad ending. So I'm gonna start with the sad ending first. This shit was like super pivotal for me. Like this was one of the moments where I was like, yo, dog, like, okay, well, let me just tell you the story. So me and Chris Orick, then known as Red Pill, had a show in Ferndale at the Loving Touch. We were open. There before. Yeah, it's a pretty dope, man. It's a dope spot, but I remember the sound guy there was not helpful at all. That motherfucker was such an asshole, dog.
Yeah, that's because it's hard to it's always hard to perform at venues that are used to having bands there because they don't respect. They don't give a fuck. They don't respect hip hop and they don't respect rappers. They feel like it doesn't take. So what you got to. I've had some success in those venues because what I do is I would just do like all the smooth songs that I have where I'm just, not where it's more so like very like laid back, like kind of more focused on like a lyrical type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they respect that, but for some reason they don't respect all the technicalities of hip hop.
Right.
Which it's trash. But
fucking stupid, bro.
It's stupid, and I don't like performing at venues like that either.
Yeah. So, anyways, me and Peel had the show, and we were opening for somebody that was more famous than us at the time. I can't remember who it was. And I had my old laptop and I have a Windows laptop, and I'm Windows has closed the gap on Mac when it comes to like doing music shit. Like I remember back in the day, like if you didn't have a Mac, you wasn't shit. I never had a Mac, and I also said fuck you to those guys that did have a Mac. This is all defensiveness aside, the one problem that Windows computers used to have, they still have them, but not nearly as bad as they used to. But like maybe 5 to 7 years ago, the driver issues would be really like. So in other words, the driver is basically the like DNA that allows your computer to read any sort of peripherals, any sort of like things that you plug into it. You need the driver so that they can speak the same language.
Where?
And for whatever reason, Windows drivers would be really, really finicky. And anytime I close my laptop, it would like reset and I would have to like replug everything in. And it was just a pain in the ass. So this was before I kind of learned about like how all of this stuff worked. Well, I knew how it worked, but I didn't know about my quirks in my own computer. So what I ended up happening is that we did a sound check and everything worked out. And then when it came time for me to like start the show, I guess I closed my laptop or somebody closed my laptop and like everything just stopped working.
Yo, there's nothing worse than when you like do a sound check and it's fine and there's people before you and you literally say, hey, just make sure nobody closes my laptop.
Oh my God.
And then somebody closes it.
Douchebag. And it might have been me. I'm not going to throw nobody under the bus because I don't think I knew that at the time. So I closed the laptop and like nothing worked. Like, bro, like nothing worked. Like I got no sound at all, bro. It was so awkward. It was so painful, so uncomfortable. And I like restarted my computer twice. Like Pill got on the mic and was like, yo, like just hang with us for a second. And like, here's the shitty part, bro. Like it just never worked. Like we flat out didn't perform, dog. We flat out like, you know what? Like, nah, we can't do it. I'm done. We can't do it.
Oh my goodness.
So
take the L.
I took the L, bro. And I'll tell you what, dog. Like this was if my life was a movie, like this was the scene where I went back into my car and like just sat there in like sullen silence, holding back tears, like straight up, like. And I said to myself, like, yo, this can never happen again. Like it would have been one of those scenes where like everything got like super serious and then like the camera, like the fucking shaky cam, god damn it, like to make it more realistic.
Oh my gosh.
And fucking I was just like, bro, like I'm never going back to this, dog, ever. And like from that moment forward, dog, like I made sure my shit was tight and that shit never happened again.
That's it. But you know, one thing is like there are people who that something like that breaks them and then they just never try to perform again.
It came close, bro. It came close to breaking me. So let me end this segment on my segment on a positive note. So this actually happened before then. This happened a few years earlier. I was performing with the homie Doss the Artist. We were doing like Hamtramck. You remember that
Doss the Artist is really dope, man.
Yes. He is super dope.
Super dope.
Do you remember that I think it was like the Metro Times Music Festival or something like that in Hamtramck that they used to do.
Yeah.
So we did that at like New Dodge Lounge or something like that, and it was a dope ass show. Like
I think I was there because my group.
Y'all were there.
I think we actually headlined that show.
Yeah.
Metro Times Blowout or something like that.
Yeah. So fans, for point of reference, notice how he said headline. Noveliss and I were at very different levels of recognizability at that point. I mean, we still are, but it was even more obvious back then.
You're the GOAT.
I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. We're working on it. But so during this show, it was a dope ass show. Like Doc was on that shit.
They had that was and the reason I remember that show.
Yes, y'all did headline that shit. I do remember that.
But the reason I remember is because there's so many times where you do a show, and I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. Sometimes headlining sucks because you have to stick around for so long.
And the crowd be dead after a while.
And because of the people who were performing before. Yeah. This was a show where I specifically remember being with Elijah Day and seeing the lineup, and I was like, holy crap, like I'm about to be there for the whole thing. It's like all of our homies and all the dope, talented people.
Yeah,
like,
it was an awesome.
It was
set,
like
bro.
Doc, and it was like y'all, and it was like Coleman Young. Coleman Young was on there, and
it was Pasalaco, I think, when they first.
Pasalaco was on there. It was such a good lineup. Like I remember actually being like. Wow,
and everybody killed it too, bro.
I think Nolan might have been on there too.
Yeah, he might have been.
It was a really good lineup.
And I remember that, and so good. Like that kind of sets the tone even better. So there was a technical, and y'all didn't even know, bro. That's the So that's what makes it so dope. There was a technical issue here where, and it might have been the same damn computer. I don't know what happened. That motherfucker was just real. Like it was real fucking kind of. It had his own personality. So there was a point in the show and Doss's set was so fucking dope. Like a lot of the crowd knew the songs. We had this one song called "Shape Shift the Whip" that was super popular. Everybody liked that shit.
If y'all get a chance, man, I gotta check this dude out. He doesn't really make music anymore, but a few years back, Doss the artist was a really dope Detroit artist, man.
For sure. And we're gonna bring him back. More to come on that. We got something working. But anyways, I made a mistake, and I'm pretty sure it was either me or Doss, but it was probably me. Kick my computer power, not the computer, but the audio interface, kicked the power cord out of the socket while he was performing.
Oh my god!
And so the music just cut out, just like. But I guess it was like rhythmically because the crowd didn't notice, and Doss kept rapping, but he looked back at me and he kind of looked like, "What the fuck just happened?" And I was like, yo, just keep rapping, bro.
That's because y'all are professionals, though, man. Yeah. There's so many people when something like that happens. I see, man. You got to understand that when you are performing, you got to be able to play things off. You got to be able to improvise, man. So the fact that he did start rapping and that you weren't like, I
didn't panic. Yep.
Yeah.
So because this time I didn't panic because I saw what happened and I knew how to fix it. I knew exactly what to do. So the power cord got kicked off. I had to restart my computer because I know that motherfucker is sort of gimmicky. Right. But so and nigga, fucking good chemistry, right? So Doss looked back at me, and I just told him like, just keep going. I got it, keep going. So he and he's real, like he was like a theater major in college, so he's real like dramatic and like really like a showman, right? So he like started slowing down and like freestyling and like that I kind of can't stand when people do this, but he did it kind of well. Where niggas will do that line and they'll stop and be like, "Hold on a second, y'all didn't catch that," and then say the line again.
Right, stalling.
Right.
Like,
so he did that a couple of times, and so he looked back at me again, and I mouthed to him like next song. Because I had everything queued up, we just couldn't finish that song because I couldn't find where he was in it. And then like right on the fucking dime, without sound checking or anything, I just fucking pressed space and that bitch started back up, and we went right into the second song. That shit was so dope, dog. It was like seamless as fuck. It almost looked like it was on purpose, but I promise you it was not. That shit was almost a disaster, but niggas played that shit off.
That's awesome. And So that's dope. And I have two. I'm gonna tell two as well. My first one is kind of like that. This was years ago. My group. It was our first show ever in Paris, and it was sold out. So this is like it was our first sold out show ever, and it was the first show that we ever done where we knew it was sold out before we did the show. So we're all like, freaking out, and we get to Paris, and they're taking us to our hotel, and there's like this line wrapped around this venue.
Holy shit!
It was called Noveliss Casino. That's the place we did show at. So I'm like, dang, there's a lot of people, and the dude that's driving us is like, yeah, that's for your show tonight. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? So we like, this is, at this time, this was the biggest show we'd ever done. So this place is sold out. It's a big venue. It's people on the balcony. It's people on the stairs. The floor is to capacity. Like, it is crazy, bro. So we do the show. It's amazing. It's the best show ever, bro. In the middle of the set, same thing happens. Something happens and the sound just goes out. Something gets unplugged and the sound just goes out. So I start freestyling, and some guy from the crowd starts to come and get on the stage, and everybody's looking at me because, like, sometimes that happens. You gotta like beat the guy up because they're trying to like take the mic or something and like
right.
Show.
Yeah.
So the guy gets on stage and he's like, let me get a mic. And I'm like, yo, nothing worse could happen. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the mics were working. It was just obviously the sound he went. So I give the guy a mic, bro. This guy starts beatboxing and he's amazing at it.
That's fire. So he knew something was going on and he wanted to help y'all.
Yes, the crowd starts going nuts. This dude starts beatboxing. We all start rapping while he's beatboxing, while Elijah Day is in the back fixing the sound. We freestyle. Everybody goes nuts. Then Elijah Day hits the button. The music comes back on. Then we do Get No Better right after all this disaster happens. And that's a song that everybody loved at the time. So, and then my man went off stage and I was just like, told him, I hugged him and I was like, yo, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
That was crazy. Then the other one also happened in Paris. And it was actually, this was actually like the last time I was in Europe, which was like a few months ago, you know what I'm saying? This was the last time I was in Europe in Paris, and we did this show. We did like this huge show, and it was like in a park, and the sound system was a little flaky, and it wasn't bad, but it was a little flaky, you know what I'm saying? And we did the show in this park, and there's like people everywhere. I have a video of it I have to show you, and we're performing and the sound just goes out again. Yeah. And the crowd is going so crazy when the sound goes out. And Elijah is just like doing like this and they're just like going crazy the whole time. And it was really, really dope because it was a thing where it was almost like the perfect ending. Like we didn't start the show back up because it was kind of towards the end, and the crowd was just going so crazy that that was just the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like, oh man, the sound went out. It was like, yo, they were killing it so hard that they destroyed the sound system. Like that's how they took it. You know,
that's fire.
So that's super dope, man. I'm gonna have to show you that video. So yeah, man, there's some stories from the music side of things. Music, absolutely, life.
Right.
So yeah, bro, just going into the anime,
this is such a good question, Doug.
So I kind of thought of this question, just with the way things are right now and some shows that have come out. In your opinion, do you think shonen is getting played out? This shonen style, is it played out?
You want my opinion on this?
Kill the girl.
Or in shonen's case, kill the boy. So look, man, I will say this. This has been a consistent take of mine ever since we first started doing this podcast. I am not a fan of shonen. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not a fan. I think that shonen tropes can be very easily played out. So much so that it makes me like, and they're so heavy-handed sometimes that it makes me wonder, like, damn, have I grown out of this shit?
Yeah, because it's so heavy-handed, and you can like see other characters and other characters all the time.
You can, you know their arc immediately.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, so this is the Sasuke, this is the Vegeta, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the thing, honestly, like, yes, I think that Shonen in its original form is very played out. So when I see these new animes that come out that borrow heavily from these tropes and don't do anything to subvert it, it's hard for me to get into it, bro. That's the reason why I'm not into, it's one of the reasons why I'm not into Black Clover, one of the reasons why I'm not into Fairy Tail, one of the reasons why I'm not into, what's the other one?
Black Clover, Fairy Tail.
There's another, Tatsu, that's the one with that's Fairy Tail, right?
That's Fairy Tail, yeah. I think it's
Natsu. But, you know, some of these sort of standard issue, like everybody trying to capture the next Naruto fire, lightning in the bottle. Now, the thing that has saved me, that's made me like re-interested, and I will not shut up about these animes, bro. The things that have rescued my interest in the anime genre, not anime in general, there's still a lot of amazing anime out there, but like the shonen genre is these attempts at taking the shonen storylines and the story beats and doing them differently. Like, I mean, you already know the ones I'm going to say. Fucking Food Wars, amazing. Koroku no Basket, amazing. I mean, that one is pretty standard, but it's still like, it's basketball. It's a different genre. It's not fighting or like ninjas or fucking goddamn magic warlocks. Dr. Stone, bro, like this Dr. Stone is it's such an interesting story, bro. Like this man is it's every bit a shonen anime. It's got the shonen lead character, it's got the rival, it's got like the side characters, but the problems that they're solving are like, these niggas are trying to fucking science themselves back into the 21st century, bro. It's such an interesting story. So when you see stuff like that, it is really dope to me. Like I like those, and even stuff, even the popular ones like My Hero Academia. Like, it's very much following the Naruto blueprint, but it did it in a way that was way tighter. The story was way cleaner, and it knows what it's doing. Like, it doesn't take itself as seriously, right? And it the tropes are easier to ignore because of like the package that it comes in is so beautiful. The same way with Demon Slayer, right? Demon Slayer is very much a prototypical anime in terms of, or shown in the way the story is told, but like the production value is so dope and the characters are like actually have some development. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to do it at a high level. You can't just recycle the same things over and over again. So Absolutely. Are they played out? Kinda.
Word. Yeah, man, I agree with you 100%, bro. Just the thing, just seeing the evolution of shonen has definitely saved it. Like you said, My Hero. I think it's kind of started with Hunter x Hunter, which is a show where you're kind of not getting that whiny protagonist, right? Mm-hmm. And then you know, and then the step up from Hunter is kind of like a My Hero type of show. And then you got Demon Slayer, which I personally, I love Demon Slayer. And I think that
me too.
Kimetsu no Yaiba is maybe the best, that in My Hero. But I mean, we talked about it. There's still some things in My Hero that it's an amazing show. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorites. But there is sometimes those moments where like you talked about, like how Deku and
Akugo
and we talked about how Deku and
Mirio
had like that unwavering loyalty towards the scroll that they had never knew ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, just little things like that. But I do think that the way that shonen has kind of gone through its like evolutionary period, it is saving it, because if it were the same, I don't know. And I mean, it's I love shonen anime. I love the action and the characters and the stories, but it can be a little frustrating. Like we talked about how Edmund was kind of struggling to get through Naruto because he had watched My Hero first.
Yeah.
And it's like if you if you watch something that moves at the speed of My Hero, then you're going back to the fights where they're still explaining their how they hit you that one time for 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think
you did this. I had planned that you were going to attack.
Right. I knew you were going to do this, so I had this planned. Bro, so hold on, wait a second. What anime do you think is the worst at that? Because I think one anime stands head and shoulders above everybody else. What would you think? That's the worst at like the like I knew you would do this, so I had this waiting. I think there's two that stand out. I think in second place is Bleach. I think Bleach is really guilty of that.
I was gonna say Bleach first.
Yeah, bro, Yu-Gi-Oh, dog. Dog,
you thought I was gonna use my Egyptian god card, but no.
Bro, Yu-Gi-Oh, that's like they make up cards on the spot just to complicate the situation, bro. It's like, come on, dog.
Seriously, they do though. Like I used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's I didn't think about Yu-Gi-Oh for sure.
It's by far, dog.
You used your Egyptian god card, but I used my Egyptian god card.
Right.
The triple god card.
Come on, guys. Like, you didn't know I was gonna do that. Fuck off. Okay.
There's no way.
Get the fuck out of here.
Knew I was gonna do that. I went through so much careful planning. There's no way.
Wait a minute though. Hold on. But you know what anime does that, but does it like sweetly, like sweet as fuck? And here's another ringing endorsement for novelists to watch Death
Note.
Dog.
I knew it was coming.
Man, I'm talking. Look, dog. Anybody who makes a move in Death Note, the other dude saw it coming, and the guy who made the move in the first place saw it coming. That the guy who saw it coming saw it coming.
Oh goodness!
But it's so dope the way they do the way they tell the story though, bro.
I was gonna do this, but I knew that you would know that I was gonna do this. So me knowing that you knew that you knew I was going to do that, I did this.
Dog, when you see some of the lengths that Light goes to cover his ass, bro, it's like, yo, what the? This guy is a despicable human being, first of all, but also like
a genius,
like a diabolical genius, bro. It's so good, so good.
That is hilarious. And speaking of Light Yagami and shonen anime, and the thing that, let's face it, if the hero is annoying, sometimes the thing that keeps the shonen anime together is the villain. And my boy, I made Snook. But so let's talk about villains, man. We've talked about our favorite villains with justifiable ideology, but we have never done a top 5 just anime villains. Anime villains are some of the best villains known to man. Hiro-san, let's get your top 5 favorite anime villains ever.
Boom. All right, I got a couple of honorable mentions, of course. One of my first honorable mentions is going to be Dio Brando from JoJo. Now, I'm not a JoJo stan. Like, I actually haven't even finished JoJo. But the reason why this gives me another reason to talk about this aspect of like that particular show and like make the fucking woke tep goddamn anime nerds feel stupid again, because all of you homophobic motherfuckers that love JoJo so much need to understand that is the most queer-coded anime that I've ever seen. Yes. Dio and JoJo both are very obviously like, even if I don't know that the show like pays enough attention to like gender and romance for them to have a sexual orientation, but it's very clear that these are like queer-coded characters. Like, obviously, them niggas are fabulous as fuck. And like the thing that's interesting is like I think that it's so interesting that we are like that community that's known to be super homophobic and problematic towards like queer and trans people will like post all these dope ass memes about how cool Dio and JoJo are, in one breath, and then look at these niggas like vogue, like literally voguing, and then say some homophobic shit in the next breath. Like seriously, they do their power ups, and them niggas be fucking like posing, dog, like on some fierce shit,
hitting the Ginyu Force poses.
Dog, I'm telling you. So I think that's really interesting, and y'all niggas are toxic. Anyways, aside from Dio, another honorable mention that I'm gonna go with is, because it's questionable whether or not this person is a villain or not, even though he was the antagonist in the film. But I'm gonna go with Tetsuo from Akira.
That's such a good one. Oh man,
because he's kind of right, because he's the sympathetic villain, but still kind of the bad guy in the end.
He gets a little. He goes a little crazy, and also like carried away at the end.
Kaneda, like,
you know what? Every time we talk about that movie, I watch it, and it's. I've seen it 1,000 times, but I love that movie, man. Like, it's just one of those old classics that
bro.
Have to watch every time we talk about it.
So yeah, man. And Kaneda is sort of shitty. I mean, he's a great character, but he's like an flat out asshole, and like is sort of unredeemingly a jerk, but he somehow gets to be the hero. But Tetsuo, the person who is like a tortured soul the whole movie, is the villain. You know what I'm saying? It kind of sucks. All right, so getting into the top 5 proper, I got to go with an oldie but goodie. I'm gonna go with Lord Frieza from Dragon Ball Z.
The racist one.
The racist white supremacist. Frieza, who like literally calls the Saiyans monkeys.
Monkeys.
And also another like sort of gender ambiguous character who was
especially
sort of one.
His dad.
Right, Jesus, his dad, like the whole family, like super gender fluid.
Right.
So shout out to Dragon Ball Z being progressive as fuck 30 years ago.
Progressive,
right?
Back in the day,
right. But I like the mythos of Frieza. That was one of the first villains that you saw got built up like a real big bad, and like when and you got
and then lived up to it,
and then like oh shit, like holy, like Frieza ain't fucking around. Like Frieza just killed like the whole Z team off top. Agree. So I loved how that was one of the first examples of a villain who really got built up organically, because you heard about Frieza. Like, I mean, so in real time, right? When you got introduced to Frieza, and then when I actually got to see him in action, it was like a 4-year gap there, because you remember they had that whole licensing issue where they weren't like Funimation didn't have the rights yet, so they would like stop halfway through the Frieza saga and start over again.
Yep.
They wouldn't go past the Ginyu Force, right? Like they would go past like right when Goku got turned into a frog, and then they would stop and start all the way back over from the fucking Raditz saga like 200 episodes ago, because they didn't have the English dub going any further than that. Raditz. And that was the case for like 2 years, bro.
Raditz was another good villain, man.
Yeah, he was, bro. I fuck with Raditz heavy.
What a jerk.
He was just a fucking shitty asshole. Like
he was a scumbag, man.
So yeah, gotta shout out to Lord Frieza. That build up was organic, and the wait, like the gap between when we actually got to see him fight versus when we were introduced to him was so large that it like made it even more dramatic when we got to finally see him in action. All right, so the next one, number 4, and this is where we might have some similarities here. I gotta go with Makoto Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin.
Before you say anything, that is the scariest villain ever. That's the only
scary.
When I was watching anime as a kid, as an adult, that actually frightened me. Like I was scared of Makoto Shishio. Yeah, no, super intimidating design. Cool design though, and it's got a dope story too, right? Like the alleged successor to Kenshin in the government, but got betrayed because he was too
he got out like, okay, so like
Kenshin got out at the right time.
Got out at the right time, exactly, because that would have been Kenshin's fate, but he was like, you know what, no, I'm good. And they caught Shishio slipping, and they betrayed his ass, and like his whole thing is like basically anarchy, and wants to overthrow the government because of how they did him dirty.
If you're weak, you die. If you're strong, you live. Man, he twisted my man's head so bad. What was that young? Name? He had that kid out here.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Motionless. I can't remember his name. Shishio just destroyed that kid's head.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a really dope villain. His like just one of the first examples of a like villain with like justifiable motives in anime, because anime is good for having a bunch of cackling ass madmen with like
he was a mixture though. Shishio was crazy.
He was crazy, but he got crazy in a way that I could understand. You know what I'm saying?
He was fighting. My man had the fire skin, so he did the sword off his skin.
Oh yeah,
and it was like an explosion.
Yeah.
Dude was
he was nuts for sure, but like I get how he got there. Like it makes sense how he arrived at crazy. Some of these villains are just like, let's destroy the universe. Like,
bruh,
why? Don't you live there too?
Exactly. Ronin Warriors, bro. So the villains on there.
Right. So anime is good for a cackling madman every now and then, and I like the like relatable villains. Those are always going to be my favorite. Speaking of relatable villains with bro, this guy is almost like a modern pastiche of Shishio, and that's going to be Hero Killer Stain from My Hero Academia.
Yeah, man.
It's an interesting, sort of an anti-hero, but positioned as a villain in the arc. They've got similar justifiable motives in that, like, like the government, or in this case, the superhero, like, state, they failed y'all, bro. Like, these niggas ain't real. Like, they're in here. They're in it for the fame, for the glory, for the puss, for the coin. They're not in it here. They're not in it for the, you know what I'm saying, for what's right.
In it to be heroes, man. Exactly.
And he had obviously like a cool like quirk and like a dope fighter, and also like looks like Raphael from the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
That's always going to be a good thing for me. And so my top two are like way out in front of everybody else. And maybe a surprising top two, number two. I'm gonna go with the father from Full Metal Alchemist.
That's a great one.
Full Metal Alchemist is one of my favorite animes, and I really like it. It's one of the few animes that doesn't like let its foot off the gas in the end. Like, I feel like the ending, like the last few chapters or the last few episodes, or like the last like arc, is maybe the best arc, and that it really gets into like the sweaty and like the real like
the whole thing behind the show,
the deep lore. Like it answers a lot of questions for you, and it's like, oh shit, like I get it, like I motherfucking see. And if you want to talk about this is an interesting ass story, bro. The father's story is just like being the homunculus that sort of like was created alongside the father of Ed and Alphonse, and like being like a literal god kind of, and just I just really thought that the mystique behind the father was, again, he was sort of a cackling madman too, in that he just wanted to create like genocide. But I just thought his backstory and like the lore around him was just really dope. So I'm a big fan of his. And number one, this should be no surprise, bro. The only villain ever to be the star, as far as I know of, the only villain ever in an anime to be the star of his show, the main character, gotta be Light Yagami from Death Note, bro.
Of course, I already knew.
Dog, I'm talking about not only one of the great villains, one of the great characters in the history of anime. What a piece of shit, man! He sucks, but he's so good. He's so I don't know, dog, because it tells this story of like,
oh my god,
it makes you think. Because I want you to watch this shit, so I'm not gonna spoil it, but it really makes you think, man. Like, was Light always a shitbag, or did he like does power corrupt, right? Because the whole, like in the first episode, he gets the Death Note and decides that like he's going to use this to save the world. But the way that he does it is that he creates, he wants to kill all the bad guys, but like that creates a whole other thing that happens. But it gives him this God complex where it's like, bro, like, but it's almost like, nigga, was he already like that? And just the Death Note was the thing that brought it out of him. It really makes you think, bro. Like, I don't know. He is such a good character. He's a fucking horrible human being, and he's complemented so perfectly by his foil, which is L, who is like this totally motionless, like Sherlock Holmes type figure. It's just a great show, great villain, great main character. Number one, Light Yagami, greatest villain of all time in my opinion. Boom.
I like it, man. It's an excellent list. Of course, like always, we do share a couple of similarities. Light Yagami, number one. I'm going to get into my list here. I got a couple honorable mentions as always. I got to give a shout out to middle one, the Ant King from Hunter. He was a super dope villain. Just his fight with Netero, that fight is amazing. It's one of the best fights I've ever seen. He was a really dope character, had some layers to him. I remember he was playing like chess with the girl, and he was kind of he had been like this killing machine, until he started playing with that girl, and he kind of started coming around a little bit, but then they tried to X him out, so he had to defend himself. He was a really good character. Another honorable mention, man, obviously love this character. Gotta give a shout out to Tetsuo from Akira. And now I'm going to get into this list. Coming in at number 5, we already talked about it, man. Scariest anime villain ever to me that frightened me as a young boy. That is Makoto Shishio. What a nutcase. Shishio had one of the sweetest character designs ever, though.
Yeah.
And just a complete madman. He, like you said, we get how he got there. You know what I mean? We get how he got there. The manslayer who got betrayed, which would, like you said, would have happened to Kenshin had he not got out as early as he did. And his whole thing, man. If you're strong, you live. If you're weak, you die. The natural law, chaos. And he was a super good character when it finally came down. He was serving everybody.
He was.
What's my man's name? Saito.
Yeah.
With Saito, he whooped Sanos. What is the name? Sasuke. He whooped Sanosuke. He whooped.
Yeah.
Who was?
That's a dope name.
Yeah, but he was an annoying, like fiery character.
For sure. Yeah.
And he kind of was whooping Kenshin too, man. He almost killed him when he did
Yeah.
Him. But yeah, scary, horrifying, great look, lived up to the hype. One of the greatest anime villains ever, so I gotta go Shishio, number 5. Number 4, man, back-to-back similarities between us two. Hero Killer Stain, just the can you hear me?
I can hear you. You were frozen for a second, but
okay,
I can still hear you though.
All right, yeah, back to so number 4, man, Hero Killer Stain from My Hero Academia. Just an awesome character design, had the ideology that made sense. And to this day, I think he had one of the best arcs and one of the best fights in the show. I really hope that he returns. He was such a good character, and I also like how his ideology has had lasting effects on some of the characters. Like you got some of the people in the League of Villains who talk about he's the reason why they wanted to become a villain. You know what I'm saying? So like Spinner's a really lame character. He's like the lizard guy.
Yeah.
Like, is that his quirk, or is he just a lizard man?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was so weird that their character designs were almost the same, except one was green.
Well, because Spinner is he's
right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's the whole point because he was trying to be like him.
But the thing I don't get is like, is he just a lizard man or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So staying number 4. My number 3 is a little different. I'm actually gonna go with Luau Lang from Sword of the Stranger.
Okay.
Sword of the Stranger is my favorite anime film, and Luau Lang is the European guy who is on the Chinese side, and I'm always here for the character who just doesn't care about anything other than finding a worthy opponent.
Right, just wants to scrap.
And that's all he wanted. And I'm a fan of the Chinese sword style, and he was that was his style, and just he was just super skilled swordsman that wanted to find a worthy opponent, and in the end, he wanted that so bad that he was willing to die for it. And And I thought that was really, really dope about his character. And, he had just kind of wound up on the wrong side of things, serving some evil people. But he was never in it for that. He was just hanging around because he liked swords and he liked fighting, you know what I mean?
Right.
And in the end, he got his wish.
Just kind of hanging out, like to fight, like swords.
I like fighting, so I'm just gonna serve this.
I'm just gonna see what kind of shit I can get into.
Exactly.
There's actually a character. There's a character in Game of Thrones that reminds me of kind of like that. A character named Bronn, who was a sellsword, which in the sellsword in Game of Thrones basically means like a bounty hunter or like a vagabond or a sword for hire, basically.
Yeah.
And Bronn just like he ended up, well, no spoilers, but he did very well for himself just by like following around action and like girls. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to fuck some wenches and trying to get into some scraps.
Trying to fight.
That's all I really care about. And this motherfucker wielded great power, like fucking ended up like being important as hell, like down the line. Only following
those two things.
Right, that's it. That's literally it.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious.
One of Bronn's famous quotes, in just to kind of show you what kind of character he is. One of his famous quotes in a really thick British accent is, "I'd fuck her." And surprisingly, one of my favorite characters in all of Game of Thrones. So shout out to Bronn. Anyways, continue.
The words of a champion.
All right.
Coming in at number 2, man. With when we were talking about Frieza earlier and how it's always dope when a villain lives up to the hype, right? Because it sucks when they're mysterious about the character and then they finally are introduced and then you're kind of like, oh, that's it.
Or what's worse is like if they know that they have to have them live up to the hype, but in like a not believable way, or like they like know that it's supposed to be a big bad, but they haven't really built up the character at all, and like suddenly artificially this nigga is like
they try to overcompensate for
right, like all of a sudden this nigga is out of nowhere like crazy powerful in a way that doesn't make any sense. Like get the fuck out of here. Right. It's hard to do that organically, I think.
No, I agree. And my number 2 character is a villain who lived up to the hype, man, and that is Madara Uchiha from Naruto.
He definitely did.
I'm talking about they built this guy up. You got some little backstory, just a little bit, not too much. And I mean, this guy gets resurrected in the war, and he just is amazing. He just single-handedly just destroys an entire army. And he fights all 5 Kage at the same time and just whoops their butts, man. Like he is a great character. I really, really, and as much as I love Naruto, I love Naruto. It's a life-changing anime for me, but I hate the ending of that show, man. I think it's just a show that was so long. They just I don't know what they were doing at the end, but I am not a fan of the Kaguya and the Zetsu thing, man. Like I hated how they just had built Madara up. He lived up to the hype. He was this amazing villain, and then he was like a pawn in some like bigger scheme. I hated it. I didn't like that. But
I mean, yeah, they will always pull that on you.
But
so here's what I'll say. I didn't mind that until I then learned that Kaguya is like not even really like a god figure and just like a member of another
very powerful
clan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I didn't like. Like I would have been totally fine with it if Kaguya was like the demon princess of like fucking the devil, basically. I'd have been like, all right, that makes sense. Like if there is a more powerful being than Madara, it would make sense that this person would be like a deity, right?
Well, see, and right, and that is the danger of like continuing something for so long with Boruto, because what happened was, I think she was supposed to be there. You had Madara, who was
sure.
You had Madara, who was this character who was essentially trying.
Can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you. You're frozen. So this is the Noveliss Needs to Pay Comcast portion of the podcast.
Can you hear me?
You're back. All right, you're back.
So I'm back. All right. So what I was just saying is, I think that this was Madara was the character who was trying to be God and trying to play God, and then you had actual God come and be like,
Stop.
you're stepping out of your boundaries. Hold on.
Yeah.
But
that would have been fine. I would have been totally fine with that.
Right, and then what they did after that is they kind of introduced her clan as like this just this powerful clan who had like inherited all these abilities, and she was just kind of the mother of that clan. And then it was like, nah, y'all diminishing that character, which makes me hate the Madara thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
yep.
But my number 2, Madara Uchiha, and my number 1. Look, man, you want to talk about a character who was mysterious for his entire existence, which is so hard to do. Pops in and out of the story. My number 1 is Vicious from Cowboy Bebop, man.
Okay.
I'm always here for the edgelord. Edgelord carries the katana with him. Started the coup to take over Red Dragon. He was a veteran from the Titan War, which was kind of dope. You find that out in the Jupiter Jazz episodes. Vicious was just a perfect villain, man. Like I said, they kept this guy mysterious his whole existence, his life of the show. He was just this mysterious guy who walked around with a katana. And man, when he fights Spike and they accidentally get each other's weapons, and then they give each other their weapons back. Like, come on, man. So he had some type of honor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tells me that he is a martial artist to some degree. Just the edgelord master. I love it. Yeah. I love Vicious from Cowboy Bebop, man.
He is one of the great edgelords of all time.
He was such a good character, such a dark, just miserable, mysterious person. And I mean, look, man, he's one of those characters where it's up in the air. Who is the good guy, right? Who is the bad guy in the show? You don't really know, and that is why Cowboy Bebop is like one of the greatest shows of all time. Vicious, my favorite anime villain ever. Can't say enough about it. It's rare that they keep that mystique the entire show, and they did. Yeah. So I love Vicious, man. That's my favorite villain. That's my top 5, man. Number 5, Makoto Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin. Number 4, Hero Killer Stain from Boku no Hero. Luau Lane from Sword of the Stranger. Number 2, Madara from Naruto. And number 1, Vicious from Cowboy Bebop, man. That's my top 5, man.
Boom.
So look, man, we're gonna finish up the Ghost, and we're gonna talk about it soon. A lot of fans were asking me if he was gonna make a Tales of a Samurai joint. Not this next one, because we actually made the next one last week, and it's super dope. I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
It is amazing.
It'll be on my next project. So yeah, man, that's it. Episode 44 in the books. We love y'all. Thank y'all for listening, man. We're gonna think of something special to do for episode 50 coming up. And look, man, go play Ghost of Tsushima. Go
Maybe
watch.
hold on a second. Maybe a live episode.
Maybe a live episode. Yeah,
Something like that.
We'll do something dope, man. Episode 44 in the books. Y'all make sure y'all play Ghost of Tsushima. Go get it.
Yep.
And make sure y'all watch The God of High School, man. Those are my two.
Yes.
Things for y'all. It's only 2 episodes in. It's not hard to get caught up.
Super good.
Check out the webtoon as well. It's dope too, man. So that's what I got for y'all. You got any closing words, my friend?
Yeah, man. Just it's gonna be ghost season for a while, man. Like I can't. I'm not even gonna promise that we'll talk about it next week because I don't expect to be done yet. Like it's gonna be. I mean, who knows? We'll see.
I'm 100ing this game. Like I'm doing it
for sure. Yeah, me too. Like I just started the next act. And even with that, I haven't done any of the missions in that next act, and I'm back in the first area, doing everything, just finishing everything.
Side quests, finishing everything. You gotta find those.
Also, I've been admiring this perfect thumbs up that I've been doing for like 5 minutes. This shit is like perfectly framed. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So yeah, that's all I got, man.
Hey, man.
I'm holding it. I'm holding it too.
Appreciate y'all listening. Follow us on Instagram at the SwordCast Pod. We're gonna post some of our photos from Ghost of Tsushima photo mode. You guys let us know which pictures you like the most, because that is one of the best parts of the game. Make sure y'all follow me on Twitch, man. Just look up Noveliss. I'm streaming the game a little bit on there, and there is new music coming. Me and Hero have been working hard on the new project, and I got some things coming before that. Y'all stay tuned. Always appreciate the support from y'all. We love y'all. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Check it.
Welcome back, hero.
My word is my sword, Hokage and Batosai, pulling the blades out of the forge, yo. Prior to my knowledge of the Force, was thinking Jedi, but through obtaining holocrons from both sides, I'm under gray skies. Everything that glitter ain't kyber crystal, my mind will lift you. In this time we shine together, disarm your pistol, yo. Welcome to the SwordCast, my wordplay, my swordplay when blades clash. Welcome to the SwordCast, my wordplay, my swordplay when blades clash. Welcome to the SwordCast, my word.